Warning, this video contains spoilers.
Hi.
Oh my goodness. Rover's pregnant now. The story of Wuthering Waves is set in a futuristic post-apocalyptic world where most of humanity were wiped out due to a calamity called the Lament. And since most of mankind were gone, technology fell into regression. But hey, we have Spider-Max like in 86, so that's cool at least. Anyway, the Lament also caused the formation of tacit discords, which are currently the monsters plaguing the world. You play as Rover, who woke up with amnesia and was found by hot women, cause obviously it's a gacha game. So naturally, you then follow them to the closest city called Jinzhou for safety and to uncover your identity. Speaking of identity, let's talk about the characters. But before that, disclaimer, I read the story twice. First in Japanese voiceover for my own playthrough, and then in English because there's only English voiceover in YouTube for the whole patch at the time of recording. Any clips that I refer to will be linked down below in the description. In general though, I'll talk about my Japanese voiceover experience unless specified. Okay, for starters, I'm going to refer to the protagonist as a she, since I chose the female Rover, which is the hottest looking MC I've ever seen in a gacha game. And this is proof. No wait, wrong picture. Here's the proof. Anyway, in terms of personality, I can't say much since she follows however you want her to be based on the dialogue choices. Though I would say that in a general sense, she's the go with the flow kind of person who acts accordingly to help whenever possible. As for the other characters, let's start with Chixia, the outgoing and lively one. Thankfully, I don't find her annoying and I think her character is okay. I do like her attire to be honest, and I also want to say that her hair there reminds me a bit of the dead mom haircut. So I don't know, maybe she's gonna die soon. It won't be the first time a redhead waifu dies.
Never let you go is what I did the most.
Moving on, Yang Yang. And oh boy, do I have much to talk about her. But we'll save the majority of that for the voice acting section. For now, she's like the kind and gentle companion to the Rover. The one who mainly drives the narrative and the exposition in the story and has like the most screen time alongside the MC. Which is not surprising, she's in the damn game icon after all. The cat moment was so sweet though. Now, Baiji, the kudere, and also the last 4-star that they'll ever give you in the beginning. Out of the trio, I like Baiji the most because of my biasness towards the kudere personality. It fits her element, which is glacial, and the ku in kudere stands for cool. Plus, her design is also a major contribution to my verdict. It is unfortunate that she doesn't have that much screen time when compared to the rest of the trio since she's almost always busy with research at the local academy. Speaking of the local academy, we have Mortefi, another researcher. Kinda gave a slightly bad first impression, but then he started to grow on me as the story progresses. And well, he wears glasses, I wear glasses, so that's a win. After that, we have Sanhua, and she reminds me a bit of Kakashi. I mean, only the parts where she has like the Sharingan and the fact that she's like a sneaky ninja or kunoichi stalking the stalkers of Rover. Kind of funny now that I think about it. Not that I can blame her though. It's for the MC's safety anyway, under the orders of Jinshi, the magistrate of the city of Jinzhou. The usual leader kind of character, dutiful, responsible, willing to sacrifice for the sake of the people. Basically what every politician should be. Unlike politicians in general though, she doesn't need a bodyguard even though she has them. Being a resonator herself, Jinshi can also fight in combat as you can see in the cutscene with Scar here. Oh, and finally, Scar, the character that made me emotionally invested into the story at long fucking last. There is a meme involving him here, and that is true. It feels like you want to connect with him more, and the fact that he's evasive and arrogant just contributes to that even further. Now maybe that's because he's the villain, but that's all the better. He made me feel like when I first watched The Dark Knight, liking Joker more than Batman himself, who is literally the protagonist of the movie. Now, the other villain, Mysterious Woman in Red. Well, her name based on the wiki is Frolova, but it wasn't mentioned in the story if I recall correctly, and I think that's fine. It adds to the mystery to her character. In addition, her also being a kudere personality is another win. The scene of her summoning tacit discords like conducting an orchestra is just awesome. Plus that English voice of hers, that accent.
With one condition. I do hope you haven't let that slip from your mind. Don't let your improvisation trouble others.
Ugh. So soothing. Next we have Verena, the lolly. Damn it! Not gonna lie, I do find her adorable though. Verena encouraging herself to use her resonance skill in this scene is quite cute.
Come on, Verena, you can do it.
I also love that she's such a helpful person, especially with the grandma. It's very wholesome to think about Verena just hanging out with her and talking about flowers and stuff. Speaking of flowers, let's talk about the Black Shores characters. First off, Camellia. Oh fucking yes, please! Just like Scar, Camellia also made me emotionally invested into the story, but even better, she turned me on. her carefreeness, recklessness, and seductiveness. I can see it. I can almost see it. For you, Sword! I'll admit, I thought she was part of the Fraxidus at first, due to her outfit design. Didn't think she was part of the Black Shores. And I, for one, usually hate the twin tail hairstyle, but for Camellia, I'm willing to make an exception.
Exceptions can be made.
On a side note, she's also yandere.
You're mine, and I don't like sharing.
Marry her, Rover. Kiss. Fucking kiss. Another member of the Black Shores is Alto, a sly businessman. And as a businessman, he believes in a fair deal. If you want something from him, you gotta give something in return. Totally understandable, and I like the dude. I also find it amusing that he used his traveling companion to pay us with a deposit of cuteness.
Uncle, 今だあのノーサスポーズを
This little adorable cinnamon roll is called Encore. Another lolly who is also a resonator, so don't let that cuteness fool you. She was so happy-go-lucky to tackle on that ugly-looking mecha boss, so she for sure can kick your ass. I love the dynamic between her and Alto. Okay, all the lollies are done, at least for now. I know Kuro is gonna release some more, but let's just focus on the big booba now. My goodness, Tauchi!
I mean, your boobs are huge. I mean, I want to squeeze them.
I'll be honest though, I don't have much to say about her aside from how massive her assets are. Well, she's the director at the Ministry of Development, she gave some exposition, and that's pretty much it. Kuro, please expand on this Tauchi chick even further. So far, it's a waste of her resources. After that, we have Jian, the general of the army. Cool guy with a cool design in my opinion. Charismatic, steadfast, brave. Him caring for his soldiers in his companion quest is just heartwarming. I enjoyed reading that. I also enjoyed reading Ling Yang's companion quest more than I thought I would. But yeah, there were some drawbacks. Nothing related to the main story really, so maybe I'll make a separate video on that, as well as Jian's. But back to his character, Ling Yang's an outgoing, helpful, and overall positive person with a kind heart. I find his animal ears adorable, especially when they're twitching. And man, do they twitch often. Me coming from a background of Azur Lane where we have lots of fluff. The fluff must be appreciated. One character I nearly forgot to talk about is Changli, but nothing much to say about her as of this moment because she barely had screen time and that was only just one scene. Plus, she wasn't even actually in the scene, though we did find out that she was the one who designed those puzzles. I need to pull for her so I can nag at her about how tedious those puzzles were. And also maybe because of those Makim eyes, smile, and WMDs. Alright, the last person I like to talk about, and I saved the best for last, is Jianxin. Among the standard banner waifus, she is the best girl. Not because of the big booba, not because of the armpit window, although I won't deny that there are huge contributions, but rather that idiot hair and the fact that she described the mangosteen in detail more than necessary.
This mangosteen? It's got some fresh-looking leaves, soft, springy skin, and 8 fleshy segments fully ripened inside. It looks like a nice fruit.
Plus, she has a pure heart. She gave money to the bandits and that led to her smile. Oh my god, that smile must protect. Okay, that's all the major characters that appear in the main story, and I have an issue with the majority of them. That is, they simp for the MC too early and a bit too much. This is a problem because it affects character growth, and so we have character development in a story is essential, and this aspect in Wuthering Waves story is very minimal. Rover does not feel any different at all from start to finish. One major reason for that is because the vast majority of the characters are, or at least want to be, on good terms with her. Okay, let's say that Rover is male for now. Everyone mentioned would want his dick. It feels like no one wants to hate him. What is this? Keanu Reeves? I mean, Keanu Reeves is awesome, but Rover is not him, man.
Trust me, you're not that guy.
In the first half an hour, Jinshi, the magistrate of an entire city, already wants to sleep with you. And from that point, you are declared to be some kind of prophesized hero. Is this following Dune or something?
Listen, Gabe.
I had hoped that the villains would be a change of atmosphere. But no! The Fraxidus also wants the MC to join their club. Black Shores, they also like Rover. Camellia basically declared the protagonist to be hers. Alto and Encore already took a liking to you during your first encounter. I mean, to be fair, Rover does canonically look hot. Another problem is that Rover hasn't lost a fight in the story like ever. Crownless? Clapped. Scar? Bitch please. Camellia? Yes please. And Dreamless? Power of friendship. We'll discuss in the story section why this power-up doesn't feel justified completely. And I'll admit, it's not inherently bad that the protagonist wins every battle, but it doesn't feel like Rover had to struggle much in any scenario whatsoever. And thus, she had no incentive to change or grow. Most of the time, she feels like a go with the flow kind of person, and that feels so unnatural. The first determination that I felt from the MC is when the NPC died protecting the disruptor, and that is so late into the story. What the hell? Not gonna lie, there were some good moments in the storytelling that I really enjoyed, such as Scar's Black Lambtail. But overall, I can't say it's good, and unfortunately, it involves the technical aspect. Some cutscenes will just cut the voices midway, like this.
Guess you won't need my self-introduction. Oh, I spent...
You spent what? Bro, you were saying? Don't leave me hanging, man. What the f***? Imagine you as the Rover in that scene. You don't have text to read, so it'll be so effing awkward and confusing that he stopped midway. Another thing that pissed me off was the long texts being cut. Here's an example. You couldn't scroll and there was no backlog feature. So what was she saying? And this occurs quite a number of times throughout the story. Like, Kuro, come on guys, I want to read your story completely, but you're not letting me. Sure, you could say the alternative would be to listen to the English voiceovers. No, the English voice acting is subpar. To make matters worse, the one who drives the narrative, Yang Yang, is the worst. Oh my god, she's a goddamn snooze fest. And you expect me to learn about the exposition from her? Her voice is also monotonous even during a threatened situation. I'm not joking. She's that bad. Have a listen.
Chizia might be in danger. Rover, please, stay away from her. Watch out.
What the fuck is that?
It feels like the voice actress is just reading the script. It may not be the voice actress's problem, but it's definitely a problem in the voice direction. Kuro needs to step it up in this department for the story in future patches. And it's not just limited to Yang Yang. Even the MC is also guilty.
You will not escape. You're not going anywhere.
It's not even a matter of voice acting at this point. Just what the fuck was that? That being said, to give credit where credit is due, there was some good voice acting. Some prominent ones such as Scar, Tien, Camellia, and even some NPCs like Ziulan, the camp officer, the dying soldier, and a ball.
Brother. Help.
I've never seen any tacit discord display such vivid emotions.
Yeah, it has more emotions than you. How can a ball have better voice acting than the game's damn poster girl? Oh my god, this is embarrassing. I'll be honest, I prefer Japanese voice acting by a long shot. And I don't care about English voices. But I'm only just one guy. There are others that will prefer EN over JP. So don't disappoint that side of the players, Kuro. A lot of the complaints I have were already discussed in the character growth section, but I do still have some more. First of all, the writing could be improved, especially in the early parts of the game, because the amount of info dumping here is ridiculous. You get words like F3C, tested field, tested mark, tested discord, sentinel, oracle engine, which is the same meaning as sentinel, long, and its name is duet. And by the way, you're close to a city called Jinzhou in a nation called Huanglong. My god, stop. It's like I'm cramming up a semester's worth of study into my brain during the last night before exam. And nobody likes that. Another example of the writing is during Camellia's scene.
You're just like what Civilization Simulation Sandtable Tethys has told us.
What is that name? My yandere waifu. You could have just said Tethys. Rover in that situation won't care who they are. Plus, who talks like that? No wonder the VAs don't give their all. The writing at some points are horrendous. As for the story itself, I do believe that it gets relatively better when Scar appears due to the change in status quo that he brings in, and it's at its best at the last act where things really get going. However, I have an issue with this scene, specifically these two characters. We know Ling Yang from his companion quest, yes, but who the hell is this guy? He just came out of nowhere and he's already a part of this Avengers Assemble moment? This guy was also in the flashback of the MC fighting Dreamless, which is just confusing. I don't know this person and I'm supposed to care about him? Okay, to be fair, you can meet him here for the first time. But that was a very brief engagement that had no relevance to the plot whatsoever. He also mistook the male MC for the female one.
Are you alright, young miss?
Does this look like a woman to you? What if you just pass by him without triggering his conversation? Because I did that. And during those cinematic shots, I was like, who's that? The story doesn't make you meet him naturally, so Rover wouldn't be familiar with the dude. It feels like the only reason he's there is because he's playable. Or maybe the director said to put someone there in order to have 7 people so that Tauchi could be in the center. And what if you're someone who didn't do Lin Yang's quest before Act 6? Then you wouldn't know anything about him either. This is why that power of friendship thing doesn't completely fit. Hell, I believe the Dead Ranger was more suitable to be in Rover's flashback. Now, there'll be a few nitpicks from me. One is involving the dialogue options. Let's say Scar will answer any question you want, and he did answer one question of yours. The dialogue after it is unnaturally repetitive.
Sure, why not? What do you want to know? Sure, why not? What do you want to know?
You could add another line saying like, anything else you want to know? After that, some options won't even matter. One example is that strategy meeting with Jian. There are 3 choice prompts, and the correct ones are always at the top. So why bother putting the options in the first place? The story is going to be linear. It's a gacha game. And why did Jian even leave the entire strategy of the assault to Rover anyway? Dude, you're the general of the army. Act like one. Strategize. Plan your attack. Make your decision. Nothing wrong in asking for second opinions, but you should have your own first. This is why everyone simping for the MC is a problem. It's just too much plot armor. And this is a shame because the story itself is not that bad. The execution just made it insufferable. I watched some cutscenes from the closed beta test and honestly, those were much better. Take Crownless for example. It was much more of a threat in the CBT cutscene. Chixia got kicked, Baishi's pet got immobilized, and Yang Yang even suffered grievous wounds. Whereas the release version is just basically a standoff and then immediately combat. Rover showed more character development in this one scene than in the entirety of 1.0's story. Why did you rewrite this scene, Kuro? Why? Also, have Chixia point her gun at me. Have Sanhua point her sword at my face. Even Scar's scene is better. Not everything should be about the MC. Side characters are there for a reason, and they deserve their own spotlight. Give more paranoia. Give more distrustfulness. This is a post-apocalypse for crying out loud. To be honest, the music didn't really resonate with me much in the story. I mean, it's fine, like it's there, but it didn't give a big of an impact to my immersion. Though I don't have much of a keen ear anyway. To me, I believe that the login OST and the official website OST are the best. As for the OST during the story itself, is when Scar was telling the tale of the Black Lamb. Now this brings us to the last aspect of the story, the visuals. Fortunately, the last aspect will have a positive note because I have nothing but praises for them. The cinematography in the cutscenes are amazing, where you have shots like this in the beginning, with the inverted C. The shots of Jinzo, Junshi in the moonlight, Verena in flower bed, and Jian's overall intro scene. My 2 personal favorites are the stare down with Duet and Frolova summoning the Tacit Discords. Man, this shot is so cool. I also love these 2D cinematic animations. They're beautiful. I hope Kuro makes more of them. Now, let's wrap it up. To conclude, I think that the story of Wuthering Waves 1.0 patch is mediocre, and even brought down further by its generally terrible storytelling. The setting itself is also cliché, which I personally don't mind, because how it's executed is what matters. This story is one that is generally carried more by the villains than the good guys. Around half of the characters, including the protagonist, feel dull and unappealing. The English voice acting doesn't help either, so if you have anyone looking forward to the story, please advise them to switch to either JP or CN. It'll save them the misery. And if you can stomach the painful session of the first 2 acts, then I believe you would get rewarded at the end. Kuro Games has the vision, as shown by the visuals in Release and CBT. They just need to execute it better. They're a little lost like Akron, but that doesn't mean they can't improve.
Just because someone stumbles, loses their way, it doesn't mean they're lost forever.
Overall, my addict score of the story is a 6. Combat's awesome though. Thanks for that at least. Hope you guys can like and subscribe. And later, addicts. Mommy Yinlin, step on me please!